Hey guys, this is just going to be a quick little setup video of how to get Python running in the browser. I'm not going to go into too much detail or too much depth right now. I just want to get it out there that there is this great library called pyscript.net, which allows us to use an underlying technology called WebAssembly or WASM. It basically allows us to run many different programming languages in the browser. And for this library, they've created a very easy to use library to get Python running in the browser. So without further ado, let's just get started. First thing that we're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to pyscript.net, click on the install button, and then just copy these two lines of code. There's going to be one for the CSS and one for the JavaScript library that we're going to need to use. I'm going to minimize this and bring this over to the right hand side, and then we're going to open up our file explorer. We're going to create a new folder here. It's called Python in browser. Then I'm going to go into this folder, and this is my way of doing it, but you don't necessarily need to do this. I need to open up a terminal, and then I'm going to type code and then dot to get my IDE open. I'm going to close this terminal window in the meantime, and then I'm going to bring this guy over so that both of these screens are the focus. Let's just get this wider. And there we go. Okay, and in this new project that we created, we're going to create a new file called index.html. And I'm going to use the hotkey to get some HTML boilerplate. And we're going to, underneath the title tag, paste in our two new lines, our JavaScript line and our CSS line. Now we don't really need the CSS because we're not going to use that right now, and I'm just making the title something different. And now that we have these two lines for the pyscript.js and the CSS, we're going to use the get started documentation, and in the get started documentation, to use this library, they've created a whole bunch of new tags called pyscript, which basically can just be planted right in the markup, and you can prove that that we're running Python in the browser. So we're going to copy this tag and hit save, and then I'm using an extension called Go Live. You can use whatever extension you use to create a server, but this is a really easy one to use. And let me just bring this over to the incognito window so that you can see it. I'm going to refresh the page, and here you go. You can see hello world written in Python in the browser. So let's get these two windows side by side so you can see this amazing feat. So as you know, if you're a JavaScript developer, you know that there is no such thing as a print function, but there is a print function in Python, and here we are. We have some Python actually running in the browser, which is pretty amazing. And so let's continue and just do one more thing and show that in the markup we can do a little bit more technical things. We could compute pi, for example. So let's get rid of this sample code here, and let's just paste this into the body. And you'll notice that this is all Python code, and that we are computing pi. And let's go back over to our web browser, and you can see that we are getting the correct number for 3.12, and so yeah, I mean, you know, it's only been maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and we already have another programming language that is executing code in all major web browsers. I'm using Chrome, but you can do this in Firefox, you can do this in Internet Edge, in Microsoft Edge, and Mozilla with Firefox, and yeah, it only took us a few minutes, and now JavaScript isn't the only way to do things in the browser. Still might be the best way to do things in the browser, but it's not the only way any longer. Couple of things that I wanted to mention about this new technology. This is not supposed to be a competitor to JavaScript, and what this really is doing is JavaScript has a compiler in every major browser, but also in every major browser, and has been for the past 2 or 3 years. We've had another compiler called WebAssembly, or WASM, which is what this technology that these people at PyScript have built this library off of, or I should say is using in the background essentially. What this shows is that we can create all sorts of programs and all sorts of applications in many different languages, and this is still being worked on. This is not anywhere near close to being production just yet, but eventually, using WebAssembly and using things like PyScript, we should be able to program in just about any programming language we want to, just as long as it compiles to WebAssembly, and then WebAssembly will take our program and will make it run in the browser. The only last thing that I wanted to show with this library, and it is very functional, is one of the biggest things that you could take away from this video is that Python, with its scientific libraries, having those scientific libraries run in the browser would be a handy thing. So let's just continue this one more step and take this py environment tag, and we're going to expand this so that you can see it a little bit better, and let me just up the font here so that you can see it. We're going to create a new line. We're going to paste in this py environment tag, and then we're going to hop back over to the sample code, and we're going to copy this sample code out of our py script, and we're going to put in this Python code that shows us that we are actually using one of the scientific libraries, actually 2 of them in this case, NumPy and matplotlib. And if we go back over to our environment, to our web browser, you can see here that it's taking a while. Like I said, a lot of this technology is not production ready, but you can see here we have a scatter graph that is being displayed in our browser using nothing but Python libraries. So if you guys found any interest in this, or got any help from this, I appreciate the like. Obviously, I am new with this, so I'm going to continue making videos on this subject. But if you're interested, one of the biggest things that you should check out is this PyScript library, pyscript.net, and you should also check out the underlying technology, WebAssembly. Thank you very much, and hope to see you guys next time.